At this point, your Mayor Bobby D will do the invocation.
All right, Father Dyer.
Father Dyer.
Father Dyer.
All righty, if we can bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we know that you are always near us and beside us in all that we do. We ask that you be with us this evening, and as we consider the affairs of our great city. Guide us and direct us in what we do and what we say, and give us the patience to listen and the wisdom to decide and the courage to act. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
And the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, sir, all present.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
Mr. Branch, you open that vote. I'm getting ready to do it.
Okay, do I have a motion for the certification of the closed session?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Votes open.
It's too soon. Mr. Tower, may I have your verbal vote?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Aye.
Thank you. By a vote of 9-0 with Mr. Tower's verbal vote, you have certified the closed session to be in accordance with a motion to recess.
Okay, thank you. And we have a motion for approval of the minutes of the informal and formal session of July 5th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Tower, may I have your vote, please? By a vote of 8-0 with Councilmember Moss and Vice Mayor Wilson abstaining, you've approved the minutes as submitted.
If the record would reflect, I was at Boy Scout camp that week.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
And I was out of the country.
Okay, thank you very much.
Wait, are we voting on minutes? Can I change my vote?
It's already done.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
The minutes, they were approved.
Okay, at this point, we're going to move forward toward, once again, our 60th anniversary awards. And Tiffany, are you here? How are ya?
Oh, there she is. What a smile.
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, council members, city manager, guests and residents. For those watching online, I'm Tiffany Russell, Director of Communications. It has been such a pleasure to be a part of the Nostalgic VB series, and my team has a lot of fun producing it. We're halfway through our monthly video series leading up to the 60th anniversary of the city of Virginia Beach. And tonight, we're going to look back at the years 1993 to 1997.
The 90s were a decade of possibility, marked by growing prosperity and a fledgling but rapidly expanding World Wide Web. Over the course of the decade, the median household income grew by 10%. Families were living better, and no one worried about whether or not the federal government would shut down, making it a great time to buy a home in Virginia Beach. And that's exactly what happened. In 1994 alone, the city recorded an unprecedented 100,000 real estate deeds. With more people came more diversity, and this was reflected in the city's leadership.
My platform really was somebody who was knowledgeable about finance and making sure that the budget was appropriate for everyone. I ran for education because I had just come off the school board. I got visits from people like from the SeaTac community, and they said, all over the city, they're building recreation centers. We're a black community. We got no recreation center. Well, that broke my heart. I kept thinking, if that's all you want, is a recreation center, and you don't have that, oh, I'll be happy to do that. And they spent that over $1 million in terms of building a recreation center. I realized when we went to get people to build the center that there were not very many minorities who had any contracts with the city. So I created the Minority Business Council.
With growth came growing pains, one of them being how to continue to provide water to a larger population. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the entire region faced serious water shortages during drought periods. In fact, for 5 straight years, Virginia Beach had permanent water use restrictions in place and had a moratorium on extensions of the water system, meaning no new construction. That's where Lake Gaston came in. But the hydroelectric reservoir, which straddles the North Carolina-Virginia border, is located some 76 miles away.
When the regional authority was unable to implement Lake Gaston, Virginia Beach decided it had to take the lead. It was a massive project, a huge undertaking. It's a 76-mile, large diameter pipeline, a 5,000 horsepower pumping station, 6 major river crossings. We had to tunnel under I-95 and a major railroad crossing. The City of Norfolk agreed to receive the Gaston water, store it in their system, treat it, and deliver it back to us. It's kind of a unique hybrid water system, but today, in terms of water quality, in terms of reliability, in terms of cost, the Norfolk Virginia Beach water system is one of the best in the nation.
A reliable water supply wasn't the city's only challenge. A larger population also meant more infrastructure needs, and Virginia Beach tackled several major construction projects simultaneously. In 1993, the city opened the $38 million 3-building Judicial Center complex. And just 2 years after opening the city's 9th high school, Tallwood, Virginia Beach added a 10th with the opening of Ocean Lakes in 1994. At the same time, leaders were looking at ways to improve quality of life for residents, adding Princess Anne Rec Center to the mix in 1994. Although the Dome, which had played host to the likes of Jimi Hendrix and the Rolling Stones, was demolished in 1994, opportunities for great live music were not lost. In 1993, the same year the Dome hosted its final performance, the 24th Street Park opened. And just a few years later, in 1996, the local music scene was further buoyed by the opening of the Virginia Beach Amphitheater. Well, that wraps up our look back at Virginia Beach from 1993 to 1997. Up next, we ring in the new millennium with 1998 through 2002. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share that capture the early days of Virginia Beach or proud reflections of what makes this city your home, we would love to hear from you. Visit vbgov.com/nostalgicvb for step-by-step directions on how to get those pictures and videos to us. We thank you in advance for sharing.
So as we continue to create this video series, they will be available on our YouTube channel. So I recommend everyone going there to look at the ones that have been produced so far. It is a partnership, again, with the Library Municipal Reference staff. They have been an outstanding resource to help us pull all the photos and put this timeline together. So I want to thank them for their hard work. As part of the Nostalgic VB campaign, we honor individuals who play an important role in making Virginia Beach the wonderful city that it is today. We've tried to honor at least 2 people at these meetings. And I know one of the individuals that was featured in the video, Miss Louisa Strayhorn, she had to travel out of town on a family matter. So her proclamation will be presented at next month's installment instead. Tonight, I am so pleased to invite the mayor to read a proclamation for someone very special to the city of Virginia Beach. And as you prepare to do that, Mayor, would Tom Leahy please come forward and join me at the podium?
Tom, welcome your lovely wife, and it's an honor to honor you. Whereas Thomas M. Leahy served at the city of Virginia Beach honorably for more than 40 years. Whereas Thomas M. Leahy began his career with the city as the Water Resources Manager. In his role, he was tasked with securing a long-term water source for the city of Virginia Beach. His efforts ultimately led to the construction of the $150 million, 76-mile long Lake Gaston pipeline, providing up to 60 million gallons of water to Virginia Beach every day. And whereas the Lake Gaston Water Supply Project, led by Thomas M. Leahy, changed the landscape of Virginia Beach and played a pivotal role in the city's trajectory by ensuring a sustained source of clean, safe drinking water, thereby facilitating future growth and development. And whereas Thomas M. Leahy subsequently served as the Director of Public Utilities and later as Deputy City Manager, overseeing the departments of Public Works, Public Utilities, Information Technology, Budget Management Services, and Finance. And whereas he was appointed Acting City Manager during his final year of service, seeing the city through the difficult aftermath of the May 31st Municipal Center tragedy and early months of the coronavirus pandemic. Whereas, even in retirement, Thomas Lee continues to serve the people of the community as a volunteer board member on the Southeastern Public Service Authority. And whereas Nostalgic VB is a celebration of the Virginia Beach pioneers and residents leading up to the 60th anniversary of our great city in January of 2023. Now, therefore, I, Robert M. Bobby Dyer, Mayor of the City of Virginia Beach, do hereby proclaim Thomas M. Leahy, recipient of the Virginia Beach Diamond Award in Virginia Beach, and I call upon all citizens and members within government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Virginia Beach to be of service for the benefit and betterment of the community so that future generations can appreciate and forward to continue to further uplift our Virginia Beach. Tom, on behalf of the council and the grateful city, thank you.
Thank you.
Shameless photo.
So, well, good evening, Mayor Dyer and Vice Mayor Wilson, members of City Council, City Manager, Mr. Acting City Attorney. I know how that is, and Madam Clerk. Just thank you for inviting me here and honoring my role in the city's history. I always felt it was a privilege, a true privilege and an honor to contribute something so important to a city that has given me so much. And I understand this is your last meeting in this building, which kind of really makes it super special. I can remember back in 1980, the first time being in this council chamber and just being so nervous and so young and so inexperienced. But anyway, it really is special. It's obviously bittersweet a little bit. Councilman Lewis Jones isn't here. Somehow I think I know he's here in spirit. I certainly miss him. Councilman Jones used to call me the secret weapon in the Lake Gaston project, but in reality, the city had a lot of such armaments. In the early days, we had Tom Eulenbeck and Dale Bimson and Aubrey Watts. And in the later days, we had Jim Spoor and Les Lilly and Clarence Warnstaff. I worked shoulder to shoulder with Sharon McCullough and Wayne Phelps and Rita Sweet-Bolito, which was in that little video, by the way. They were both in there. And you know Miss Bolito, Miss Rita Sweet-Bolito would go on to serve a short time on the city council. But I will tell you, the real secret weapon was city council, led by Lewis Jones, and he certainly teamed up with his fellow council liaisons, John Baum in the early days and Myra Obendorf in the later days. But the strategy of our project opponents was to simply delay the project indefinitely, hope that we'd give up. It's known in the environmental field as winning by slowly losing. But City Council defeated that strategy. You defeated it by supporting the staff for 15 years in every way possible. Financially, politically, there was nothing that there was nothing in terms of support that you didn't give us everything. And that's really was the secret to the project. 7 council election cycles in which the strategy, or which one of the major campaign issues was the wisdom of this project in the first place. I'd like to point out that on your city council today, you have 3 members in city council that were actually part of that iron wall, and actually in our audience, you have a former city council person who was also part of that iron wall, and given us all that support. Councilman Linwood Branch, Councilwoman Barbara Henley, Councilman John Moss, and former City Councilwoman Nancy Parker. Also point out that actually former Councilwoman Louisa Strayhorn was also part of the council back in those days. In the end, it was you and your fellow council members, especially Lewis Jones, that was the secret weapon that delivered this project. I used to tell people, with the kind of support I had from City Council, we could have put a pipeline to the moon. So I want to thank you. Thank you for having faith in me. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this city's history. Again, I owe this city far more than I could ever imagine. And all I can say again is thank you very much.
And the feeling is mutual, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Is Sheriff Frank Drew here? Okay, we was told he may want to chat. Hey, but, thank you very much, and thank you both for being here, and thanks for sharing Tom with us. 40 years. Good stuff.
Wow.
Hey, thanks, Tom.
All right, thank you.
Okay, now at this point, we're going to do a bid opening on a non-exclusive franchise for use of city right-of-way for telecommunications services. Okay, bids pursuant to Virginia Code 5.2, 2102. I now summarize the bids that have been received for the proposed non-exclusive franchise agreements for the purposes of constructing, installing, and maintaining facilities for telecommunications services within the city streets and public right-of-ways. 2 bids have been received as follows. Crown Castle Fiber LLC and Vero Fiber Networks LLC have each bid. 10-year terms with automatic renewal option for up to 3 additional 10-year terms for a maximum of 40 years. Are there any other persons desiring to submit a bid at this time? Okay. There being no other bids, the bidding is closed. City staff has evaluated the bids received and recommends that both of these companies be awarded a non-exclusive franchise agreement. We will now open a public hearing for the proposed non-exclusive franchise agreements for consulting, installing, and maintaining facilities for the telecommunications services within the city streets and public right-of-ways. Madam Speaker, can we call for speakers?
We have one speaker, Barbara Messner.
Good evening. I did raise my hand to bid, which you ignored me this time and last time, because okay, non-exclusive. The city of Virginia Beach, I don't know how many people know, I brought this up to Ms. Henley several years ago about the problems with Cox and Verizon. The city of Virginia Beach is the franchise authority for Verizon, Cox, these cell towers from Brazil, Spain, and like I said, when I tried to get in touch with somebody about problems with Verizon and Cox and the billing problems, it's part of the finance and budget department, and that's been vacant. They just have a new person there who's really nice, but she has never been in this department. So, I oppose you taking over all the city right-of-ways. You control the entire city, and it's not managed very well. We have crime. You are ultimately responsible. I don't care. Planning, you know, who brings this stuff up and fast tracks everything, that's it. Planning's job is to help people with whatever they want. And it creates debt. Economic Development Authority has not made any money or lowered their taxes. They've increased the debt. That's why we have, part of the reason we have $3 billion debt. The other reason is because you created authorities for the resort strip. So I'm opposed, and Spanish undersea cable, that's outdated. And, you know, people who live near these cell towers, that radiation, you're supposed to be at least a mile away. You know, one of them is right on top of, you know, Plaza, you know, fire department. Our firemen are exposed to so much. And so are the police, who also, you know, go to all these crashes and all these problems. So I'm opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the public hearing on the proposed increase to maximum rates for taxi cabs.
We have one speaker signed up. However, we have multiple speakers signed up for the actual item, K3. If they would like to speak at the public hearing, which would you have them speak on the item?
You know,
Or do both?
yeah, we if necessary, we can do both.
Okay, Ms. Messner's first.
This isn't the only time when people don't show up and they don't sign up. If I don't show up and sign up, I'm not allowed to speak. But to invite people to come up when they're signed up to speak under K, Ordinances and Resolution, and take up time is wrong. You either have rules for, you know, everybody or no one. So that's not due process. I've sent you all the information about parliamentary procedure, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, this isn't the only time it's
This is a public
happened.
hearing on taxi cab rates.
Okay, I already spoke on part of that. And it ties in with the fact that you're paying all these subcontractors to manage your parking on top of parking systems management, resort management, and you have free rides for people who are already at the beach, but where do they park? People who live here don't have parking. We don't even have park and ride shuttles, and I've asked for that since '99 when you had the traffic plan, and every business went belly up except for the Dairy Queen. Because you had shuttles that took people from Camp Pendleton and the Pavilion, but they only stopped in front of the Dairy Queen at 17th Street, and it was 110 degrees. Yeah, and we aren't allowed to, even handicapped people with a lot of families, we're not allowed to stop on Atlantic Avenue to drop off people to go to the beach and then hopefully try to find a parking spot, which doesn't exist anymore. But the hotel owners and all the tour buses and everything are allowed to park there and leave their engines running, polluting everything. And so I'm opposed with you controlling everything that we do, everywhere we could go, and how much it costs us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnston and Mr. Shake, would you like to speak on the public hearing or just the item?
We could wait to K3.
Okay.
Complicate things. I think that'd be.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. That's all the speakers in, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I'll read the speaker policy. I want to remind everyone that the City Council speaker policy that allows certain representatives of group to speak for 10 minutes applies only to planning items. All other speakers, whether speaking individually or on behalf of a group, will have up to 3 minutes to speak on a single item, Speakers are reminded that comments during the formal session of the meeting must be limited to the subject of the item that is being considered by the council at the time you are called. For items placed on the consent agenda, a speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address any single item. If the speaker wants to address multiple consent agenda items, the speaker will have a cumulative total of 6 minutes to address those items. Again, the speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter of items that have been signed up to address. And finally, I call upon all speakers and all persons in the chamber to be civil in their discussion and decorum. Whatever views you hold and wish to express, the City Council wants to hear from you and to ensure that all the viewpoints and all persons are respected. The best way for us to do this is to strive for civility and respect. Okay, do we have any,
Mayor, I believe you.
Yeah.
Can we do the add-on?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got to do an add-on also, too. Yes.
So it's been passed out to you, the revised version of the ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a sponsorship agreement for the East Coast Surfing Championship and to appropriate fund balance in the TIP fund. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
And this will be K8.
Yes, ma'am. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? The vote is open.
By a vote of 10 to 0, you have added this item to the consent agenda, and it'll be K8.
Okay, good. All right.
So,
The speaker for consent agenda
Speakers
now.
for the
Ms.
consent
Messner?
Yep.
before she gets started, can 8K be, K8 be on consent?
I'm on, yes.
Yep.
Everybody all right for that? to be
So
consent?
K2 and K3 are the only items pulled from the consent agenda, Ms. Messner.
Okay, one sec. K what?
2 and 3. Everything else is on the consent agenda.
Okay, 2 and 3. Okay, I think since this thing's added, I should have an extra minute. But, you know, y'all changed the whole policy just because I actually read this. Okay, franchise agreement, I've already discussed that. I'm in opposition of us subsidizing private corporations and creating debt. And the city is totally out of control. Crime is all over the place. And you talk about, you know, the memorial today. The memorial should have been on the public agenda, not the city manager who retired. So your priorities are not what everyone else's is. Okay, direct city manager withdraw his letter for master agreement, Hampton Roads Economic Development. Okay, I don't know what that is. Applications for Vdot, smart scale. There's nothing smart about anything you're doing. It creates total havoc all over the city. You shouldn't be in bed with Vdot, Hampton Roads Transit, all these people. Okay, and 6, donate a surplus fire engine and equipment to Arkansas. How could we possibly have anything excess when we don't have enough firemen and, you know, their equipment wears out all the time? Something worn out that somebody else can use should be, you know, available to, or somebody should buy it because you need to manage the money. Okay. Oh gosh, $7,000 from AARP for the cost associated with Fit Lot dedication and Fun Day event. Parks and Rec, which is advertised in this publication along with Henley's full-page ad. And, you know, we're paying for an advertisement. Why aren't we paying for it in the pilot? And why are you paying for it anyway? You have a website, you know, there's nothing smart about what you're doing at the city. And that's the only reason you change some of this is because the tourists don't want to come back. Their number one problem was they couldn't drive around and get a parking spot in the traffic, not to mention crime. Okay. Is this just ordinances or is it just ordinances, right?
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's planning also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do you want anything on planning?
Yes. Okay. C, 101,640, lieu of park reservation from Prosperity at Pines subdivision to the CIP, capital improvement. You need to improve the flooding and the erosion and the tree canopy. That's a joke. Planting trees does not grow in cement. Park special use facility development and renovations. You can't take care of what you have, and you should not be. $101,000 could go to a lot of other things. Okay, planning, unimproved alley, Vanderbilt, that's Croatan.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
do you want to call a public hearing?
Okay.
Yeah, yes,
Planning
I thought I did. Okay,
very
yeah.
good.
Okay.
I asked her if I want to talk about plan. Yeah, I'm calling a public hearing on planning. Thank you, Rod.
Oh, thank you, Rod.
Appreciate it.
I'm still waiting for a reply on that for you, for the emails for everyone, that they want to charge me $162.
It's not on planning.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Vanderbilt is Croatan, street closure. You shouldn't be closing streets. They were, you know, unimproved alleyways. Your sidebars are really rude, but then what's new? Okay, short-term rentals, you know, Ms. Henley, Mr. Moss, Louis Jones, you know, you weren't going to approve anything because the health department, you know, doesn't check on these things. The firemen, how can the fire marshal probably do anything? And, you know, I said something to Mr. Alcaraz, who's on planning, because Ms. Wooten and Ms. Henley, you went to Oceana Crossing Shopping Center when there were several of us. Most people have moved. When you approved all those breweries and all the problems, and the pictures I've taken of the contaminated Bay Mechanical and the other names of those dumpsters, that is disgusting. That leaches into the waterways, and everything goes to Back Bay. So even your little farmland's going to have contaminated food. So
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Rosemary?
Under K, ordinances and resolutions. Number 1, ordinances to grant non-exclusive franchise agreement for telecommunications services. A, Crown Castle Fiber, LLC. B, Vero Fiber Networks, LLC. Number 4, resolution to direct the city manager to withdraw his letter dated May 16, 2022, withdrawing the city from the master agreement with Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance regarding the regional economic development. Number 5, resolution to support the city's 2022 project applications, the Virginia Department of Transportation Vdot Smart Scale Program. Number 6, ordinance to donate a surplus fire engine and equipment to the Alicia Volunteer Fire Department in Alicia, Arkansas. Number 7, ordinance to accept and appropriate a $7,000 donation from AARP Virginia to the FY 2022-23 Parks and Recreation operating budget regarding reimbursed for some of the costs associated with the Fit Lot dedication and Fun Day event. Number B, $5,722,478 in state revenue to the FY 2022-23 school operating budget, and $6,472,855 in revenue from the federal government to the FY 2022-23 school categorical grants fund, with Mr. Moss abstaining. C, $101,640 in lieu of park recreation from the property at the Pines subdivision to the CIP 100-320 Park Special Use Facility Development and Renovation LLC.
Open a public hearing on
No,
planning.
we got 8. We have 8 that we
Oh,
added on.
number 8, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is an ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a sponsorship agreement for the East Coast Surfing Championship and to appropriate fund balance.
Okay, great.
And then,
Now we go to open on planning, please.
yes. Number 1, Craig and Chris Kirby for street closure at 563 square feet of a unimproved alley adjacent to 631 Vanderbilt Avenue, District 5, formerly District 6 Beach. Number 2, Victoria Koziol for the conditional use permit regarding a short-term rental at 901C Pacific Avenue, District 5, formerly District 6 Beach. Number 3, Long Creek LLC for a conditional use permit regarding short-term rental with 4005 Atlantic Avenue, Unit 218, District 6. Number 4, Thomas L. Lapersetti for a conditional use permit regarding short-term rental at 425 21st Street, District 6. Number 5, Craig and April Dean for a conditional use permit regarding short-term rentals at 515 20th Street, District 6. And then number 6, the ordinance to amend Section 111 of the CZO to add terms related to energy storage facilities. Ordinances to add Section 225.02 to the CZO to add requirements to energy storage facilities. Ordinance to amend Sections 1001 of the CZO to include energy storage facility as a use permitted with a conditional use permit in the I-1 and I-2 districts.
Motion.
Anybody want to move to approve?
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you've approved the consent agenda as read by Vice Mayor Wilson, noting Mr. Moss's abstention on 7B.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes, John.
I'm required under state law to make an oral statement along with my signed letter. My wife is a school teacher, and therefore, under the current interpretation of the law, I cannot vote on an exclusive school item. Think that does it? Thank you, Mr. City Attorney.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, moving back to ordinances, number 2, ordinance to amend the city code section, chapter 23, article 2, noise, requested by council members Tower and Moss, deferred from June 7th.
The first speaker is Nancy Parker. After Ms. Parker is Sarah Gerloff.
As I always like to say, the Honorable Nancy K. Parker.
Welcome. I heard you were on city council at one time.
Well, actually, it started in the Planning Commission here back in '82, and so it was just serendipitous that I happened to be here today, thinking this is the last time that you all are going to be meeting here. So it was a deja vu moment, and to hear those kind words from Mr. Leahy. It's been an incredible run here for all the people who have ever had the opportunity to serve in this august body, and to see what's happened from the city of Virginia Beach back years ago in Linwood. You were there when it was a tiny little strip, to what we have today. Everybody's got a fingerprint on it, somewhere on it. So.
And we're going to welcome you and the public to the new building.
Oh, I'm looking
Yep.
forward to, I went over there actually thinking that was where it was to be tonight. So it's
She was
it's
looking
a pleasure.
for a portrait.
No. No, I'm very happy where I am. Thank you. But like I said, this is truly a momentous moment for all of us that have ever served here for the city of Virginia Beach. All right. Go now. Okay. Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, members of City Council, City Manager Haney, and Acting City Attorney Ron Ingram. My name is Nancy Parker, and I live on 23rd Street. Each of you should have received my letter dated July the 6th with questions as to how this ordinance will govern the noise level permitted to emanate from the Atlantic Park music venue. If I understand the ordinance, any event that is sponsored or permitted by the city is not governed by maximum sound levels nor time limits like other entities as suggested in the list of exceptions. At the city manager's briefing on March the 26th, 2021, during the pandemic time, Deputy City Manager Ron Williams revealed plans for the expansion of the music venue, asking for an increase of funding due to the addition of outdoor lawn seating and other amenities, as well as a reduction in parking. I was prompted to come to the formal meeting to express concerns about the potential impacts of sound in the surrounding neighborhoods, as well as the parking reduction. Councilman Tower, bless his heart, acknowledged my concerns and said the sound studies would be done. At this point, we have seen no public knowledge of the sound levels that will come from this revised venue, nor the distance into the surrounding environs. Does council have that information? Sound does not move in a straight line, but rather a bubble, depending upon the direction of the wind. Have independent studies been done, and what are the results? Do they designate decibel levels at various locations in the adjacent communities, much like the ACU zone soundtracks do? When will they be made available for the public? What technologies are being employed to ensure our quality of peace and tranquility is not shattered? And who will pay for the fix if it's needed? Will this be bonded? I recognize I live at the resort area, but there was not a live entertainment venue located a few streets away when I moved in over 10 years ago and spent considerable amount of money rehabbing my forever home. The original Atlantic Park project was pitched as one that would work with the community, both commercial and residential. I hope this is still the guiding principle for this project by all parties. It's easier and cheaper to fix an issue before the concrete is poured. The taxpayer has already invested millions in this project. I would respectfully request that my letter dated July the 6th to you all would be made part of the record. And for the record, I would like to acknowledge that Mike Culpepper called yesterday requesting a Zoom meeting to discuss the music venue based on my letter to council. I declined, preferring to have information on the record so that all could work from the same set of facts. Any questions, please?
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much, and good luck in your new environs, too. And to those who are running for a re-election, my hat's off to you.
Mayor, would you like for me to make her July 6th letter part of the record? As
Yes, I
consensus?
think that would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. We'll make it part of the record. Have you sent it, did you send it to City Council? Yes, ma'am, I have it then. Okay, thank you. Nancy, I can take it. The next speaker is Sarah Gerloff, I'm sorry, and then Kat Porterfield.
Okay, so before I get started, I would like to point out that by limiting our speech to your agenda, you are infringing on our First Amendment right to free speech. There are great concerns we the people have regarding the debt and crime being allowed and to perpetuate in our city that you will obviously never put on the agenda because you do not want to talk about it. So under this proposed ordinance, a violation would be based on, quote, certain sounds that are plainly audible inside an individual's home or beyond a specified different distance from its source. And it would establish a hybrid penalty structure imposing civil penalties for some violations while preserving criminal penalties for repeat or severe violations. A first offense would incur a $250 fine. I do not consent to this unconstitutional, thus unlawful ordinance for the following reasons. Number one, enforcing an ordinance would make it a law, and you do not have the authority to create laws. Number two, this ordinance could never be a law because it infringes on our unalienable right to liberty. Number three, law enforcement should be focusing their efforts on enforcing the real laws instead of wasting their time with this. Number four, if law enforcement were to actually enforce this ordinance, then they would be committing a crime. Number five, let's just call this what it truly is. Another one of your scams to extort money from we the people. You know, extortion is unlawful since it is actually theft. Anyone enforcing this ordinance would be violating Title 18 U.S. Code 872, extortion by officers or employees of the United States. Actually, by drawing up this ordinance, you are conspiring to infringe upon our unalienable right to liberty. When two or more conspire to infringe upon the right of another, it is a violation of Title 18 U.S. Code 241. Gee, I wish law enforcement would enforce the real laws these days. You people have racked up a debt that is over $3 billion by misappropriating our money, and your debt has come due. This is a relationship that has gone bad. You have been lying to us, stealing from us, and cheating on us for a long time. We have been patient with you in hopes that you would right your wrongs, but you have not. You gamblers thought this day would never come, but you lost. It's over between us. We do not want to be married to the mob anymore. We the people are divorcing you. I know it's a shock, but since you refuse to see it. Anyway, good riddance. Good luck without us. You will need it. No love lost. Signed, We the People.
Next speaker is Kat Porterfield. And then Tony Britton.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Thanks for allowing me to be here tonight.
Pull the mic down a little bit.
Right, I'm super short. Maybe it was too noisy the last time I spoke against this anti-beach, anti-fun, anti-liberty noise ordinance, but I swear I heard the clerk in a plainly audible voice ask if Councilman Tower and Moss would contact the speakers who spoke on the ordinance so those people could be included in the community workshop and the sharing of ideas before another attempt to vote on the proposed ordinance. And then, with my own ears, I believe I heard Mayor Dyer say yes, he supported the speakers being contacted for inclusion in the workshop. I just want to point out, nobody contacted me, nobody reached out to me. Who was supposed to reach out to me? I'd like to know. So on the morning of the date of the workshop, I reached out to Councilman Moss to inquire when and where the meeting was to be held, only to be told many hours later that I had unfortunately missed it. I asked if I could email some thoughts, and he graciously said I could. Well, I didn't. I missed the boat on this one, but I am here now, and I am even more miffed than I was before. I read through the amended ordinance, and I couldn't find a single fair change in this anti-liberty, cash-grabbing nonsense that seeks to make a criminal out of someone who dares to make a noise after 10 p.m. I didn't see anything. Also, nothing that would differentiate between our bustling resort area and our less than bustling neighborhoods. You are again trying to push this thing through without thought to how this will hurt the character of our oceanfront. Stop for a minute and see. See if you can see past the end of your nose while you're hollering, "Get off my lawn." And you can do that. Y'all can holler all you want. You can holler after 10 p.m. You can holler before 7 a.m. because if the cops show up at your house for a noise complaint, nobody is going to be fined and nobody is going to get a criminal charge, no matter how many times you or your friends violate this ordinance. When the cops show up and see it's you, they'll probably apologize and then be on their way. For just a minute, set aside loud music, mufflers, laughing, singing, and think about the groups of people who are being targeted here, some intentionally. There's a smack here of some racial targeting if you read it right, and others who I don't think you have considered, the hearing impaired. Military veterans, especially those who worked on the flight line and on carrier decks. Children learning how to play an instrument, and certain cultures who just speak more loudly. And if that doesn't pull at your heart, maybe this will. You think the Virginia Beach Animal Shelter is filled to capacity now? Just wait. Wait until your "it's not perfect, but it's something" ordinance makes barking a death sentence for a dog because its owner can't afford fines piling up or the threat of a criminal charge, so they are forced to surrender their pet. You have written an anti-liberty ordinance, and it appears you are comfortable with that. I can hear the lawyers lining up right now.
Thank you very much.
This is going to be expensive.
The next speaker is Tony Britton, and then Joseph Pethick. I think maybe.
Good evening.
Just wanted to reiterate from my previous emails to all of you. In the Declaration of Findings and Policy, line 38, reference is made to certain noise. A certain noise as defined by whom? In the May 24th workshop, Councilman Tower stated on record this amendment emerged out of problems with stationary noise in commercial establishments and the busking issue of very loud amplified music on the boardwalk. basically admitting that this is targeting artists. Instead of targeting, let's provide education and mutually agreed upon guidelines for independent artists to work within, an example of which I have previously submitted to everyone. The additionally targeted verbiage beginning on line 129, referring to bass reverberations, is specific to certain genres of music, which brings us to the use of noise ordinances as a form of gentrification. In the meetings I have attended on this matter, it has been stated that enforcing the current ordinance has been an issue due in part to the lack of sound meters available to prove a decibel level. Councilman Moss stated that at the June 28th public forum that sound meters could easily be obtained by the city, adding that the cost would be minimal in comparison to other expenditures. Perhaps providing the necessary equipment for the current ordinance would be a more beneficial and allow efforts to create a performer's guidebook to be pursued. The entire amendment is focused on charging individuals with civil and criminal charges and exorbitant fines. There's no effort to educate the public. Education is key. Let's work instead on an inclusive way to educate citizens, artists, and visitors. I cannot reiterate enough that education over criminalization is far more productive and a cohesive way to address these concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Joseph Pethick. Sorry if I'm messing up your last name. And then Barbara Messner.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. Dyer?
Hey, doing
Nice
good.
to see you guys. Pleasure meeting you guys, man. I just threw something together, kind of off the rip. First, I'd just like to say thank you guys for actually allowing me to perform in Virginia Beach and able to make something of myself. I've been able to do that quite, I guess, profoundly with your guys' help. So thank you guys on that. I'd just like to say pretty much a quote that my mother used to stand by. She said, "What's good for the goose is good for the gander." And essentially with that being said, the pandemic has kind of helped a lot of people step out of the 9-to-5 and be able to grow themselves in a way that has to do with performing arts. A lot of these people are now kind of coming together to say they don't want to be a part of that. They want to be in the performing arts. So what we want is we want to create a cohesive environment that works symbiotically with the resources around them, including tourists, city council members, and the self-sustaining habitat, which is capable of policing itself. That is Virginia Beach Boardwalk. This is a tourist town. It's a business and commerce, obviously thrive off of the noisy tourists who come down to have fun, while majority of locals avoid the beach during summertime and visit Chicks Beach or Sandbridge. So a lot of the tourists, I guess, it's mainly tourists and not even locals that are kind of pushing for this bill. This law will be abused disproportionately negatively to affect poor people rather than business owners that blast music until 2 a.m. For example, people playing music out of the trunk of their car will be ticketed, whereas nearby nightclubs will be encouraged to play the same offensive material. Busker street performers and performance artists alike will be fined trying to make a living, while those that are lucky enough to receive a stage presence at a local bar or venue will be praised. Pretty much, just continuing with the double standard, I think there's nothing noisier than these jets. I mean, we all know the jets, of course, protect our freedom, and the First Amendment that is protected along with that is our right to be able to be out there making art, making music, and things like that. So I'd love for an opportunity for people like myself and other young, up-and-coming youth to have the same opportunities I did and be able to make something of themselves. And I'd hate to see that taken away from you guys. So thank you.
Hey, thanks a bunch. Appreciate you coming.
The next speaker is Barbara Messner, and after Miss Messner is Donovan Sawyer.
Okay, I've told y'all before, I've worked for Whisper Concerts, Cellar Door. I was the assistant booking agent for Kathy Moore for several years. They booked events inside arenas that made money for the city. You're using the oceanfront, the expanded beach, to fill hotel rooms. And I can hear the music when I go to Harris Teeter, and the bar I talked about, the bar shopping center, Diesel Bar. They were so drunk they would crash into the brick walls at Montessori Church and several times. You don't take care, as people have said, the real problems with crime. You just want to take money from people. And no one should be able to play loud music till 2:30 in the morning. People work different shifts. People came up to you to 1:30 in the morning talking about short-term rentals, and you can't selectively enforce, and you should not be in the business using air money. Most of these events at the oceanfront, we pay between $250,000 and over $1 million for something in the water. Yeah, there's something in the water. It's called corruption, insider trading, and I'm so tired of it I could scream. Thank you.
The next speaker is Donovan Sawyer. After Mr. Sawyer, we'll move to the Webex speakers.
Hey, how you doing?
Good about yourself.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak. I love Virginia Beach. I'm born and raised here. I used to work next door at public utilities, and it's always experienced love from the police department, everybody. So I love being here. I'm a musician on the oceanfront. I've been playing for about 3 summers. Before I started, I emailed the city attorney office for the rules and the ordinances, the do's and what not to do, and they gave me clear instruction on how loud I could have my music, and they sent me in the email 80 decibels. So my speaker is about 70. I noticed since I've been playing there will be other musicians out there or people that's busking, and they will have larger speakers amplified, and they will be near me, and their music will overpower mine. It will be a lot more louder than 80 decibels that was sent to me from the city attorney office. So I propose to, in this case, I believe the noise complaints are coming from people that hasn't gone through the city and educated themselves on the laws and the rules. So I propose that we have like a permit process where you need a permit to perform on the oceanfront at a fee or a cost. And that way, that will protect artists, future artists. That's professional. I'm professional. The speaker before me, Peyote, he's professional. We represent the city well. Then you have people that just blast music that doesn't care about families. They're playing music with a lot of profanity, and you have a lot of kids, running around, hearing that. So that's my proposal. Any questions for me?
Hey, thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
And there is a tremendous amount of talent on the boardwalk, and we had 2 sterling examples here today.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I
Yes.
do have a question, if
Yes,
it
sir.
would be okay. So you described a process by which buskers essentially would be permitted or would so there'd be some organization to it, correct? I wonder if is there another community that's adopted the type of proposal that you described, you think well, that we should be looking at?
Fort Lauderdale. When I visited Fort Lauderdale, they have a process where you get your permit from the city, and they give you a map of the areas where you can choose from. You can pick your own spot, and that's when they advise you on the rules. What you can do, what you can't do. But the problem is, people are coming here, but they don't know the rules. They're ignorant of the rules. They don't know how loud they can blast the speakers. And when I made a complaint to the law enforcement about an incident, they mentioned they didn't have a device to measure the decibels. That was an issue as well. So Fort Lauderdale is an example.
I appreciate that, and
No problem.
I'll look into that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the Webex speakers now. There are 2 signed up. I believe 1 is only online, though. Is correct. Kevin Joseph is the first Webex speaker. Mr. Joseph, if you will pause 2 to 3 seconds before beginning, and please do not ask if we can hear you, as only 1 line is open at a time. You were unmuted, Mr. Joseph, and may begin.
Hi, thank you guys for allowing me to speak. I was at the last full board meeting, and as the other previous uh, citizen spoke, Kat, I was actually supposed to be informed of that public hearing as well, and I never got any information. And when I did find out about the information, the whole format had been changed from what it had originally been told to us at the last formal meeting, in which I thought that there would be not a limitation, the same 3-minute limitation that is we have to adhere to on this in this moment right now. But to go further, because we only have 3 minutes, I wanted to speak to Mr. Michael Berlucci. I actually am a well-traveled performer. And I started my professional busking experiences in New Orleans. And in New Orleans, we actually do have an artist coalition. We have a guideline that is set out and is and adhered to by anyone that performs or comes to the city to perform, and they're educated. So education has always been first and foremost to make sure that people adhere to and everybody plays their part in the quality of life so everyone gets heard versus what I'm seeing from this ordinance that's being presented. There's only one sector that seems to be will be well served with this, and that's the resort um, uh, entity versus the the census of the citizens with the policing, with the you guys, the council, and things of that nature. And as was mentioned earlier, education to me is one of the most important things because if you don't know what you're doing that is wrong, then punitive damages aren't going to really fix that problem. It's just going to only hurt the situation. And then, like I said, it's going to be more. A punitive isn't the answer. Education should be what should be administered first. And this whole situation can be policed as a community versus being policed by a board creating this policy that really is going to be subjective and selective about who it really enforces because I don't know how well you'll be able to track down cars with booming systems as well as a busker that's stationary in one place. And if a busker is stationary, you can definitely have a conversation with that person because they're going to return to that spot because that's the spot where they actually work. And I'm being one of those actually buskers. So to me, education is first and foremost versus just throwing a blanket policy that is going to pretty much hurt the artist that's struggling to try to express themselves.
Appreciate it.
We have one additional speaker who was signed up on Webex. I understand she's not online though, so I'll call her name just for the audience. Annette Mewburn. She's here in person. That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, thank you. At this point, do we have a motion? Guy?
Mr. Mayor, first, before I make the motion, I'd just like to thank all the people that have spoken at the various hearings we've had, including the hearing that was that Mr. Moss and I presided over. And I also, I have 30 pages of public comments that have been rendered as well. When I'd like to make sure those are available to council members. I know I got them. I'm just not. Did everybody get them?
Yeah, I think they did.
And I'm sure the people that are affected directly, the buskers, the people that are producing sound that are concerned that their livelihoods or their freedoms may be restricted, are being well heard. If you read those comments, so you get a lot of interesting comments from people who are on the receiving end of sound, and some of them are heartbreaking, frankly, of the difficulties, and they're not on the ocean front. They are in neighborhoods and apartment buildings. They're on Shore Drive. They're in Indian River Road. They are all over this city. This is not an oceanfront ordinance. It's not an ordinance designed for the oceanfront. It's a design for a big sprawling city of Virginia Beach that includes apartment buildings, wide open spaces, entertainment venues, pop-up and formal entertainment venues, if you will. It's an incredibly difficult milieu of noises, and I don't mean that pejoratively in any way at all, to attempt to, can we make some sense out of it? But if you read these comments, particularly of the people on the receiving end, you realize there is a demand from the public that we as council members do something about trying to control sound. We live in an age where amplification is cheap. It's not expensive to buy devices that cause amplification that a few years ago might have been only someone with a big expensive sound system might do. I don't have all the answers. I'm pretty sure there isn't a perfect answer to this, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to craft the best ordinance we have. I've heard, in addition to these comments tonight and the other meetings, in addition to these public comments that council's all received, I've received a number of telephone calls from people in commercial establishments who are very concerned about continuing their business model, which they say is working fine, but they are concerned that how it will be affected by this ordinance. I don't think dealing with this and having a vote on this ordinance tonight, it will be the right thing to do. I think there's more to be said, to be heard, to be considered. And I'm going to move to defer this for 90 days, which would put us to the second voting meeting in October. Is that right? Roughly, Madam Clerk?
That would be the 18th of October.
Okay, I'll make a motion to defer this till the 18th of October. And in the interim, I'm certainly going to invite some of the people that have called me that have had very helpful comments to be made about what we need to be doing and how, and some of these people are very experienced in dealing with sound and sound issues. And some of them are critical to some of the projects that are going on in the ocean front right now. We need to coordinate that with the Atlantic Park development, for example. So I'm hoping within that period of time, maybe we can reconcile some of these things that remained unreconciled, so to speak, right now, and get some more expert advice and come up with a better plan than we have now. And I welcome additional comments. Mr. Moss,
Okay. Could we get a second, then we'll have discussion?
Yes, I'd like to second that as being a person that's at that workshop. And, it was interesting. A good amount of speakers did show up. I remember the one who operated a hotel who came and spoke and talked about the person who was across from his hotel playing a non-amplified instrument, but that made, I don't know if it was a saxophone or what it was, but upon being engaged, wouldn't cease and desist, and he actually had to refund money to people who stayed in his hotel because of the amount of noise that reverberated off the building. So there's a lot of different views, and also of people using the city's electricity, even using bolt cutters to cut the locks off of the electrical outlets at the ocean front. So I do believe there's a lot of room for self-policing, and because there's certainly a lot of people going the extra mile to use amplification electricity from the city, and they're actually going as far as to cut the bolts so they can get to the electricity. So there's a lot of stuff going on. That all came out at the workshops. It was a very robust, but you heard a lot of sides. I also want to compliment, because I think it's been a lot of hyperbole, the city attorney gave a very good coverage, and I hope that briefing should be shared with all the members of the council and posted up for the public. And people, we went, I shouldn't say we, Mr. Stiles and his team went the extra mile to make sure that we cited every judicial case and precedent and that the ordinance was source neutral and content neutral. The court doesn't allow any municipality to make a distinction as to the source or to the content. We can only regulate the volume. A number of people called me this morning as well, and I said, well, maybe the answer is to buy 1,000 or so meters and train every single officer, or do like we do with handicap parking, train citizens, volunteers on all this stuff, and enforce the ordinance we have strictly with meters. I think people would be surprised if we went down Atlantic Avenue and strictly enforced the current ordinance with the boom box out of the right there at the store entrance and blast across Atlantic Avenue. So I think people are right to say that it's no rules is what the rule is today. So what I hope people that are out there, business people watching, the citizens, as we do this delay, is don't be angry at the police department when they can't solve your noise problem and you don't like the language that's coming from those places, because we're looking for perfection. At some point, to protect the bigger of the whole, we're going to be something less than perfect. But we can't single out and say, this group that's a church can make noise. Oh, this artisan who plays this kind of music can make noise. No, it's everyone, whether you're a citizen, an artisan, no matter what you are, horse rider, it's noise we're regulating, not who's making the noise and not the content of the noise. So there is no racial bias in that ordinance. There's no artisan bias in that ordinance. It's focused on noise, but it can use some more work. I applaud. I want to continue to work with this, because we try to take in everything we heard at those workshops, but people were looking for a special carve out. But the law doesn't permit us to carve out a special area. Now, whether or not we can create noise overlay zones, maybe we can do that and have the oceanfront be different. But you're right. We hear from people in the heartland. This is a 460,000 people in this community, and other parts just in the oceanfront, they don't want noise after 10 o'clock at night. Maybe at the oceanfront, that's okay. But I have heard from people, why is the city an exception? Why aren't we applying the same rules to the city that we're applying to everyone else? I think that's a legitimate point. And I'd be the first one to endorse that personally. But it may not be the view of my peers, but it would certainly be my view. But it is not, it is content neutral and source neutral. I just want to make sure the audience listening here and watching on TV that the ordinance did not single out any group, any content, or any source. It was just about noise, no matter how it was generated. But I look forward to working with Mr. Tower. I don't know how many more, we can have more workshops or maybe meet just, but I think when we have workshops, all the stakeholders need to be there. And I regret that they didn't all get notified. I'll accept responsibility for that. I don't know where it lies, but it doesn't make any difference where it lies. I'm accountable to make sure that happened, and it didn't happen. I apologize. And we'll fix that, and next 90 days, we'll get there. But I hope that people that are out there will look at the current ordinance, and rather than just saying, I don't like it, which I understand that, tell me the line and sentence, and what language would you prefer over the language that's there? Because that helps us find the common ground. And absent a specific recommendation that's consistent with judicial precedent, it's hard for us to find common ground. So I do encourage people that have an issue to tell us specifically what they'd like to have changed. And we will research the legality of how because I'm sure like some places in Boston, they have permits, but they have a lottery who gets a permit. Everybody doesn't get a permit, and everybody doesn't get a right to make noise. So that's a plus and minus, but I thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the time to share this thought.
Thank you. Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank Councilman Tower and Moss for the time you two put into gathering all the information on this topic. It's a very tough topic, one to try to make sure you satisfy by everyone. My concern has always been from the very, very beginning is how we apply this issue of noise and the laws around it. I think it's a very tough issue, and one trying to do within our city, being as diverse as it is. My concern, again, is making sure we have all the stakeholders at the table from every single community, culture, arts program, what have you, being. Because as we say, no good deed goes unpunished, and oftentimes our good intentions can have adverse effect. And one, and being that how, a new ordinance is applied. What I like to understand, Mr. City Manager, as well, is if we can gather information from the bulk of the complaints, and perhaps maybe we'll see or understand data, are these complaints a majority throughout the tourist season, or are they year-round? I think they'll best help us to understand, and maybe we can come up with a better plan to construct a better place ordinance. And maybe you have the information already, but I certainly would like to I think it's certainly agreeable that we have more discussion on this topic. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for deferral for 90 days.
To October 18th.
Yeah.
Okay. Pardon?
To October 18th.
To October 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Rod,
Mr.
you're my
Holmes.
right-hand guy. And that only because you sit on my right.
Just can't look too good.
By a vote of 10 to 0, you have deferred this item until October 18th, 2022.
All right, now moving on to the other one is the taxi cab ordinance. Righty, and that would be number 3. Ordinance to repeal section 36 through 73 and amend section 36 to 172 of the city code R-Ray taxi cabs, requested by Vice Mayor Wilson.
The first speaker is Barbara Messner.
Too bad the cameras don't show how silly and misbehaved most of y'all are. They protect you. Okay, and I resent Nancy Parker getting these intros and all this falling all over the place. And then, other people don't get extra time. You pick and choose who you respond to. Yeah, like I said, the taxi cabs, we have a problem at the ocean front. The police, you've moved the police precinct from where it was, on Arctic, right by the beach, and you've exploded all these high-density projects. Yeah, you shouldn't be amending the city code requested by Ms. Wilson, has not responded, along with Mr. Tower and everyone else. You can't talk about public engagement when you take surveys and you don't have town halls. Ms. Hindley, who left the room, has town halls, but unless you live in her district, she doesn't invite you. So I think all these things should be deferred until after the election, because most of y'all are just grandstanding because you're running for office. Yeah, thank you.
The next speaker is...
I'd like to just say that Ms. Henley's meetings are open to the public. Anyone can attend.
The next speaker is Lynn Johnston.
That's correct.
And after Ms. Johnston is Mohideen Sheikh. I hope I got that sort of close. Are you speaking together? No, I just wanted to... Oh, okay, perfect.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
I hope it will continue to be a good evening. She has some copies that we have made in our request. My name is Lynn Johnston, and it's nice to see you, Mr. Mayor and Vice Mayor and council members. I don't come here often, but I have stood in this place before. And usually it's because I feel something's important enough to take my time is not a waste of yours. And I drive 50 miles to get here to talk to you. I'm going to read this because it's faster. You've got it in front of you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Lynn Johnston, and I am the owner of All City Cab Company, Inc. We've operated as a Virginia Beach taxi service since 2006. And I've stood before you in the past when city ordinances were in dire need of change, and that's my reason for standing before you now. I am speaking on behalf of all of the cab drivers in the city because they have no voice. I am requesting changes to several city ordinances that regulate taxi rates and therefore the income of all taxi cab drivers. This increase request does not give any monetary benefit to the cab companies, only the drivers. And this is actually, we are amending the request that's in the schedule tonight for that Vice Mayor put in there. This is an amendment. We want to amend it, but we still are requesting an increase in changes. If you look down I would propose the following rate changes. The current rate drop fee, and you don't know what that is, so I'm going to have to tell you. The drop fee is, the meter is started at that drop fee, which guarantees the cab driver at least that for coming to get you and pulling up and you get in the car. The rate per 1/8 mile is 30 cents for 1/8 of a mile. And the minimum fare right now for the cab driver is $5.65. That's 1 mile and the drop fee. I am proposing, and I've talked with multiple other cab companies, and the majority of them, we've got Yellow Cab is involved, Atlantic Coast Cab is involved, Orange Cab is involved, Blue Checker Cab is involved, All City Cab is involved, Red and White Checker Cab is involved, and all of them are supporting this, as well as the Coastal is also supporting it. In fact, initiated this. We would like to propose to have the drop fee go to $4, and the rate per mile go 1/8 be 0.45, and the minimum fare be $10. As you can see, we are asking for a very reasonable increase. Gas prices alone justify this increase, if not more. There is no way to retain acceptable drivers when they can make more money in less hours working in the fast food industry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, you've got the rest in writing.
We got it right here. Good
And-
job getting this info to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mr. Shake.
Being charged for a 2-mile trip. Minimum, they're being charged for 2 miles at a minimum.
Good evening.
Mayor, good evening, Vice Mayor, good evening, Councilman. I'm here just to give you a little bit of understanding of how the taxi cab is affected by so many factors. And since the last time that there was an increase into the ordinance, it was almost 15 years ago. Many things has happened for the last 10 years. The addition for Uber as a direct competition for the taxi cab have dramatically affected the rate and dramatically affected the taxi industry in general. And the Uber in itself is self-regulated. They can dictate their own price. They don't have to come back to you to ask for an increase or go to anybody. They just can automatically put the rate that they want. We cannot do that. And we have a problem with that because we have been affected by that competition. And then the pandemic came, and then the gas increase also came. And we would really like for you to consider that increase, that one chance increase that will give us that level and that capacity to continue to stay in business. Many cabs business have closed. Many drivers have quit their operating for us. We're still actually in the last almost thread. And today we are in front of you asking you to consider this increase because it's very reasonable increase. All city around you are also considering that, and they have adopted. And I'm asking for you to help us into this situation. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, Ms. Wilson?
I need to ask Rod a question. If we were to change the amount requested from what our ordinance is that's been published, can we still vote on that tonight, or would we have to defer it?
I think you can still vote on it. The people who are interested in this topic have come here and spoken to you, and you've heard their feedback, and if you'd like to change something, you may do so.
So, I mean, what is in the current one was what was requested of us. And also, there were some other pieces in there where you don't have to have the dome light anymore. That's kind of antiquated. I mean, what is the feeling of the council? Would you like to do what they've asked or keep with what we have?
John?
We've often talked about I'm not trying to make a material change on the fly. You know, I'm not opposed, but I think I need to understand. I'm trying to do a little math here to figure out what the minimum trip is and what $10 is and what's the logic that they say they need a fare to hire taxi cab drivers. I appreciate, but I don't have any thought. I'd prefer to adopt what was in our agenda and then get some more understanding so that we can tell people that we know why we adopted $10 as a minimum fee and take care of it then. But I'm just not, I like to vote on what was in our packet that the public got to see.
And I understand that, and that's why I wanted to ask you. I don't want to defer this, and I'll tell you why, because we're not going to meet until August 9th again.
I want to sort of defer it, and I'm just.
No, I understand, but if anybody had wanted to defer it till we do that, and then the summer's almost gone for these people, and they're losing money every single day. So,
Do we vote on it and then redo it later?
yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
Of course we can. So right now, I mean, they're asking only for $4 for drop fee, and what we have is $6. So they're going to gain $2 right there.
So are we keeping the same what we have in the ordinance?
So,
I agree with John. We probably should keep with what we have for right now.
yeah, but with the option of when we come back of revisiting this
Sure.
and do
Okay.
that.
But this
I feel comfortable voting what we have in the ordinance just because of the process as well.
Right.
And I have no issue about we coming back and increasing that.
And I don't want to defer it because folks are losing money every single day, and we need to help this industry out. So
I think
I'd
that's
like to move for approval.
Second.
Okay, then any other discussion? Vote is open.
By a vote of 9-0, you've approved the ordinance, noting Ms. Henley's, can you close the vote, Terry, so it shows up? Noting Ms. Henley's absent.
We really appreciate y'all coming out tonight.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, at this point, appointments?
Yes, for the Clean Community Commission, we recommend Terry Stevens.
Do we have the ECSC thing?
We've already voted on it.
You got it? That was number 8.
Yeah, it was on the
Consent
consent
agenda.
agenda. The Stormwater Appeals Board, Tom Leahy, Bill Brunke, Lynn Moon, Tom Dillon. For the Flood Prevention Bond Referendum Oversight Board, James McCune, Scott Miller, Allison Hammer, Robert Radspinner, here we go, Yusha Elizwangapru, and Emily Steinheimer, and Jeffrey Waller.
Okay, any old business, but for new business, I would
Mayor,
like to.
We need to vote.
Oh, to vote on it, yeah. Oh, Lord.
Rod would have caught us.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rod, I was testing you.
Mr. Tower, Councilmember Tower, thank you. By a vote of 9-0, you have appointed those read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay. Thank you. If there's no old business, what I'd like to do for new business is I'll give the opportunity of council folks to speak. You know, this is a very special night to a lot of us. A lot of people have spent hours in this room, you know, next door, working with the people. And we're looking forward to a future and a better facility, but this place has a lot of history for us, you know, even as a group. So, Linwood, if you could go ahead and get things going.
Thank you, Mayor. So I wrote a little something down
You had
that I call a ballad for a building.
Okay, it's gonna be good.
This is gonna be good.
Boy, we're finishing on a high note.
I promise
Here you go.
I'm not going to make too much noise, though. Leaving Building 1 is now a must. Farewell to the asbestos, stale air and dust. And to the many meals here of five-star dining. Thank the Lord we all have good stomach lining. Not a moment too soon, and I'm not joking. We've run out of things that can be broken. The duct tape and wire won't hold things anymore. The security cards will only open every other door. If walls could talk, much could be told. The thousands of tales would never get old. hosting so many talks and greetings, oh, to have a penny for every one of the meetings. So goodbye, Building 1, here's a goodbye kiss. If the truth be told, you will be missed. Your many years saw our city prosper and grow, and now we say sadly, it's time to let go.
Hey, you gotta admit, that was pretty good.
We have a poet that didn't know it.
Yep. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yeah, Rosemary.
I brought this up a couple of times, and then Patrick and I talked about it a little bit when we were in Spain about, it's another historic time of this era that we're going into new voting districts, and they're all designated by a number, which, that's never been our thing. We've always had names, Kempsville, Bayside, Princess Anne, and so we talked about doing a contest for Name Your District. And thought it would be really good if we could get the staff, unless anybody has an objection to it, to work on a communications plan. And we could start it maybe in September with school starting, and maybe the young people going back to school could get involved and submit ideas what the district that they live in could be named. And that way, I think it'd bring a lot of attention to the new districts, and people might want to actually know which district they live in. And they may not want to be a number 5 or a number 10 or, they might like to actually have a name. And could be they might still want the Bayside area to stay Bayside and Princess Anne to stay Princess Anne. But number 5 kind of doesn't have a home. It doesn't really have a name. So and this could go on during the fall, and then maybe after the election determine what the name of our districts could become. But I think it'd be some good public engagement, and if no one has a problem, we could, between now and September, work on a communications plan it could be a lot of fun for everyone.
And it could be education.
Pardon me?
We might have a court decision.
Hey, wouldn't that be nice?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right, anybody object to doing that?
All right, so I'll work with the communications team and I'll present council a plan in August or September.
Thank you so much.
And once again, thank all the members for council for all the, sweat equity we put into this building over challenging times, over good times. But I'll tell you what, it's mostly been good. And I'll tell you what, we are VB strong for a lot of reasons. And for that, I thank you all. We are adjourned.
Cut these up and put a name.